Hello,
Hi.
welcome to the Horror Corner.
Are we starting then? Is that...
Oh, I thought we were starting.
We can start the episode.
I guess, yeah,
Okay.
I guess now we have to start.
We're in it now.
We're in it now.
Welcome to episode 23. Welcome to the Horror Corner, where we talk about horrible things. Sometimes there's murder involved, sometimes there's...
Ghosts.
I was gonna say brutal assault.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Both. Yeah.
Mothman. I ran out of
covered
stories
Mommy
to
Wada
use as examples.
recently.
Yeah. African mermaids. The true meaning of Christmas. We've got it all. Yeah,
Krampus.
okay. Once again, I bring you an episode in which I have gotten zero sleep.
Yeah.
I also meant to cut my hair earlier before I showered, and I realized it was 3:30, and I was like, we're recording at 4. I don't think I have time to cut my hair and take a shower and eat a meal.
I mean, you could have done it all while we were recording, and everyone could know about the secret life of Cody.
Cutting my hair on stream, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure people would be really interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, I can film myself
It's
cutting
like-
my hair. I'm not a stranger to that. I've done it before.
I mean, like,
Check out my YouTube channel.
Posting
Odd Cute
it.
Punk on YouTube.
it could be like hair cutting ASMR.
Oh, gross. I hate ASMR. There's just a lot of mouth noises usually, and I'm not a
Yeah,
huge fan.
I really hate mouth noises. Yeah.
Yeah. Mouthfeel and mouth noises, my least favorite things.
Mouthfeel. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, why
Yeah.
don't they just say texture? Are they too good to say texture? Mouthfeel
well,
seems
okay.
like a step down. It feels like a step down.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm already packing.
Oh, right,
3
yeah.
weeks early because I'm that
It's
excited
never too early to start
move.
packing.
I know.
It is never too early.
Oh yeah.
I learned that
it's
the hard way.
Yeah. I packed 3 big tubs and 2 boxes yesterday. It was really good.
Also,
We
I
got
checked the
all my
map,
books.
and you're moving further away from me?
Yeah, sorry about it.
I mean, we recorded remotely, so, it's
Yeah.
not that big of an issue, but I was like, oh, maybe if we're moving closer, I'd be more willing to, maybe start going over there if quarantine lifts
Yeah.
more fully.
Mhm. It is
Because
so pretty.
I do want to get a
Yeah,
different
we-
mic stand that's more portable.
You should still come to us because it's pretty. Also, oh my god, we could do a Halloween special in the graveyard.
Yeah. I'd
Oh
be
my
down
god,
for that.
would be so fun.
How many months do we have to, plan this out and make sure that the quarantine doesn't interrupt?
Yeah, we
Greatness.
have 4 months. Wait, August. We
Only
got 2
4
months. 2 months. August and September. And then it's October. Which is when we would
No,
be
it's
doing
not.
it. What?
God damn.
Am I getting my months
No,
wrong?
you're right.
Oh wait, no.
I'm just so upset about how time passes.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I feel like time has always passed like this for me in some capacity. And now it's just valid because of quarantine. So
No,
it's
same.
the
Yeah.
way that I always was, it's suddenly okay for it to be that way because there's a pandemic.
Oh, we're gonna be done by 6:30. Putting that out there into the universe.
Should we make it a goal to do 6 instead of 6:30?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was
Push yourself
just...
to the limit.
Yeah, I was just being generous. I was gonna say
okay.
6 originally.
Be compassionate with yourself. Give yourself more time.
No.
No? Okay.
Some
I'm
things
sorry.
need to be timed, and this is one of them. Alright. Okay. So, once again, we're not doing the time machine because I don't want to. And, this week I wanted to do a lighter case because last week's was kind of heavy. The week before that was kind of
Yeah.
also kind of heavy, but
Yeah.
I did research on this via podcasts mostly.
Okay.
And the
nice.
first one I listened to, I was like, all right, let's get some information. And the first thing that they said was the brutal murder of Betty Shanks. And I was like, that's fine, I guess.
Oh,
Here we go
man.
again. So today we're going to be talking about Betty Shanks.
Okay, so I thought you were prepping us to say, oh, I found this really lighthearted murder, but then it's
No,
a serious one again. Okay, well, okay.
Where did my sources go? They jumped down a page and a half. How did that happen? I don't know.
Rip.
I know
Oh,
how
God.
it happened. There we go.
Side note, can you hear Susan gnawing on her bone in the background?
Oh, I thought you said not on the phone, and I was like,
Oh,
what?
gnawing on her bone.
A little bit, but it's probably louder on your end.
Yeah, okay.
So the podcast I got that from, the podcast I heard that on was Little Mysteries, spelled Missteries.
As in mystery?
Yes.
Huh.
QLD, which means Queensland, I guess, in Australia. So we're going back to Australia.
Oh, back to Australia. Okay. This is why you were talking about Australian law earlier.
No, but
No?
it's related.
Okay.
It's fine.
Anyways, go on.
So the episode is called Who Killed Betty Shanks from Little Mysteries, QLD, or Queensland. Also, I listened to another podcast called Insight, which the episode was called Betty Shanks. There's also a few books written about this case, which both podcasts I listened to read, but I did not, but I'm sure they're great, and are much more informative than I'm about to be on this case. But unfortunately, books cost money. And it was really funny because in Insight, one of them's in Australia and one of them's somewhere else, I don't know, but they have like a US Canadian accent, I don't know.
Oh, and they're in Australia.
No.
Oh.
One of them's in Australia. Is
Okay,
actually
okay.
Australian. The other one is
Got
from
it.
US or Canada. I'm not sure which.
Okay.
But originally the Australian host was going to be like take lead on this case, and then so they read the book, they wrote the notes, and then they mailed the book to the other host, and just thinking, oh, okay, they're gonna do their half of the notes, and then they lost their notes.
Oh no.
So the person who was in the US or Canada had to do the notes because they were like, it's much cheaper for me to just take lead on the episode than mail a book back to Australia. And I was like, yes.
Oh my
That is true.
God. Yeah, literally has to go around the world.
Exactly.
Wild.
So yeah, I do recommend you listen to those episodes. They're actually funny. They're both about an hour long, so if you want much more informative, more theories on this case, I recommend you listen to their episodes, not to take you away from ours, but listen to ours first, then go listen to theirs. And my final source was Betty Shanks was murdered on a suburban street in 1952. Her murder remains unsolved, from true crime section of the Courier Mail. So it gives you a little bit of a preview, but that's what the article was called, / there was no article title. They just have a long sentence
Rip.
at the top of the page, and that's just what I put. Okay.
All right.
Scroll all the way back up, because I put my sources at the bottom, like an idiot. Yes. So, Betty Shanks disappeared on September 19th, 1952. Walking home from the tram she took from night classes in Brisbane. That's how you say it.
I don't know.
Okay. The thing about the Queensland podcast is that they are actually Australian. So they have Australian accents. But they were also doing Valley Girl accents.
Oh my God.
So I got to hear a Valley Girl Australian Valley Girl? Is that... I don't know.
Yeah?
But yeah, it's hilarious. If you listen to that episode just for that alone, I highly recommend.
Nice.
But I think they were saying Brisbane at the time, or in the podcast, so that's how they were pronouncing it. It's not Brisbane, because that's a very American way to pronounce it. Okay, I'm not going to try to do accent. I think accents are in the past for me. We're not doing accents ever again in my life.
Okay.
Betty Shanks was walking home from the tram she took from night classes in Brisbane to a suburb of the city. So she lived in the suburb. Night classes were in Brisbane, which is the city.
Okay.
Are we on track now?
Yes.
Get it? Tracks, tram?
I'm good.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
She was 22 and lived with her parents and brother, and the walk usually took about 8 minutes, give or take. She liked to walk really slow. So, it took 8 minutes for her. It might have taken 5-ish for someone maybe who walked a little bit faster.
For someone like me who just zooms by.
Just zooming, yeah.
It would probably take me 3 minutes. If it takes normal people, or normal able-bodied people 5 minutes. Normal
Unless
people.
you're from New York, and then you could probably do it in about the same amount of time.
Nice. Anyways.
Yeah. So, people saw her getting off of the tram, so we know she at least made it off the tram.
Okay.
And Betty often liked to walk home with another woman who took the same tram with her. But this woman is an example of someone who would walk a little bit faster. So the other woman liked to walk a little bit quicker, while Betty tended to walk a little bit slower, so the person in front of her wasn't looking back or whatever.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she was ahead of Betty.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. She was ahead of Betty.
You okay, man?
Yeah.
We're only a few
PSA,
minutes in
get
and
sleep.
you've already had 5 strokes.
I know. Yes, so this person was in front of Betty on their walk home, and Betty was behind her, and this was all around, 10 p.m.
Okay.
Is when she gets out of night class, probably around, 9:30, then takes the tram home. So shortly before 10 p.m., residents in the area heard screams, most of them passing them off as some, rowdy teenagers doing whatever they do at 10 o'clock at night. I don't know.
Okay, this is why if I hear rowdy teenagers, I automatically interpret it as someone is dying. Because
Right.
there's so many times where that happens. Someone's just like, oh, that's just something benign. That's
Oh,
not
absolutely, yeah,
benign.
for sure. I put a note here that says, some crazy kooks, you might say. They're making a lot of noise.
Oh,
And
boy.
there was also actually, I don't know what noise just came out of my mouth. There's actually also a schoolyard across the street. So it wouldn't be totally unusual or, out of
place, I guess.
Yeah, out of place to hear,
Yeah,
yelling
okay.
at,
Yeah, that's
10
true.
p.m., I guess. Although, I feel like the schoolyard would be closed at that time. I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would be hyper-vigilant either way.
Right. So, you and an off-duty police officer would be getting out of bed and looking out your window to see what's going on.
Oh, good.
But unfortunately, this off-duty police officer looked out his window, didn't see anything, and went back to bed.
Oh, bad.
Betty's parents reported her missing around 1:30 a.m. to the local police. They called some of her friends, and sometimes they like to go out for the movies after work or classes, so it wasn't all that unusual that Betty didn't come home right away. Come home at, an expected time.
Yeah.
They also called her class instructor, who she sometimes got a ride from, and none of them had seen or heard from Betty. The next morning,
good.
the off-duty police officer, whose name was Alex Stewart, went out front to collect his morning newspaper. I don't know why there was a difference. Around 5:35 a.m., when he discovered the body of Betty Shanks in the garden of a neighbor's house.
Oh, no.
Not his garden, but a neighbor's.
Yeah.
The neighbor's house was on the corner of Carberry and Thomas Streets, a mere 150 meters from the tram stop she was seen getting off at. Stewart immediately called the local police, and they opened what turned out to be one of the biggest murder investigations in Queensland to date.
Wow. Oh, boy.
Her body was found brutally beaten in the neighbor's yard, and they suspected that she had been pushed or thrown over the short fence that lined the perimeter, and then beaten, on the ground on the other side. The fence is a thigh-high-ish fence.
Okay.
I don't know. In the newspaper photos next to a group of men standing nearby, they all looked about this, around the same height, so I'm assuming they're about average height for a white man, which is 5'10"-ish. I don't know. And the fence comes up to the guy's upper thigh, almost his hip. So for a woman who's about a white woman who's probably 5'6", 5'7", who's wearing maybe 3-inch heels.
That's bad.
I don't know. This is the 50s. I'm assuming she's wearing heels, but I could be incredibly incorrect, and she could have been wearing flats or something. I don't know. What do people wear in the 50s?
I think women were expected to wear heels.
Right, especially
That sounds
because she works in
thing.
an office, so
Yeah.
public relations. But anyways, it wouldn't be that difficult to knock her off balance and push her over this fence.
Yeah, yeah.
Her possessions were strewn all around the yard, and there was boot polish on her face. So they determined that she was most likely kicked in the face.
Oh no.
There were also
I don't like that.
Yeah. There were also handprints on the fence and a weird abrasion pattern on her forehead that could have indicated that whoever did this could have been a soldier or a police officer.
Huh. Why? Why?
Yes, okay. So...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the abrasion pattern on her forehead came from, like, what they guess was, like, a canvas sort of material.
Okay.
That comes from what they call, like, a gaiter. A Gaiter. Which is, like, a cover thing that, like, protects... I had the definition. Hold on. Ugh. Even the definition that I wrote down probably isn't going to make any sense. Okay, a gaiter. A protective sleeve thing on your ankle to protect you from bugs and grass and stuff. Hunters also use them.
Okay.
I don't know if that, like, draws a picture for you. It probably doesn't. But, we can post a picture and I can send you a picture later.
That sounds good.
But they're like a leg warmer. But for your ankles, I don't know if you've seen, like, a neck gaiter before. Like a full face neck mask. It's like that, but for your ankles.
Okay, got it.
So, I don't know. Do with that what you will. But
there was a weird pattern in her forehead from something.
Think, like, if you... What am I trying to say? Basically, like, it was kind of like a rug burn. But from a specific kind of cloth.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what indicated that it would have been a soldier or a police officer.
Okay, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I interpreted that.
Okay.
Cool.
Her underwear was removed, and the front of her blouse was torn down, possibly indicating sexual assault. The equivalent of a rape kit was tested, and it was determined that Betty had not been raped because the results indicated that she was still a virgin.
Oh, we love old medicine.
Yeah. But anyways, there was no reported semen found. But,
so that means,
yeah. Had this taken place more recently, and had she been tested with a modern kit, or like a modern DNA testing technology thing, which was still primitive in the 1980s, like, they had just started doing that, especially in criminal cases in the 1980s, which was 30 years after this took place. Maybe they would have found something to go off of to, like, further the investigation, like, help it move forward. Because they did find male DNA on her clothes years later, once DNA testing was a thing. But the amount of evidence, or, like, type of evidence, I don't know, could have easily come from an investigator who had just handled the clothing.
Oh, yeah.
So, not entirely conclusive.
Yeah.
In any way.
I mean, any evidence is better than saying, oh, we think she's a virgin because of sexist pseudoscience. Like,
that's the most important evidence in this case.
I fucking hate that.
She's a virgin. Great. So, a bunch of people came forward and confessed to this crime. But nothing really came out of them, I don't think, as far as I could tell. There are, like... First of all, I want to stop. Do we have any, like, clarifying questions that you have? Are we clear?
Why did people confess? Are you gonna get into that? Like, if they didn't...
No.
Excuse me. If they didn't do it, why would they confess?
Why does anybody do anything? No, often in crimes like this that are, like, sensationalized, a lot of people come forward and confess to doing them. I don't know why. It might be just for attention. I really don't know. Even if the timeline doesn't add up, people in prison claim that they've done crime all the time, or, like, rat out their buddies or whatever. So, like, it's so... I don't understand why you want to take credit for somebody else's crime. I don't think it has the same ethical consequences as taking credit for somebody else's work, like in school or at a job or something. Yeah. But it is weird.
Yeah. And it also doesn't help find the actual person.
Absolutely not.
Did it.
Nonetheless, like, 7 people came forward and admitted to this crime, even though there's no
Oh
evidence
my
that they
God.
did do it.
I guess, like, yeah, the one thing I can think of is if you're in jail and, like, other jailmates are, like, attacking you and abusing you, like, confessing to a crime would make you seem scary, I guess. Like, if you have
Sure.
nothing else to lose, I guess. But that also, it doesn't seem like the reason why 7 people would do that, I
Yeah, I
guess.
don't know.
Yeah.
I guess this is a good segue into like talking about theories about who. Well, I'm not gonna go into
Hmm.
who could
Hmm.
have murdered her
Yeah.
because that's a whole other can of worms that I've once again did my notes in 24 hours and didn't have like time to actually detail out
LOL.
who has been suspected of doing this because
Yeah.
there's a phew, that's a whole other podcast episode,
Hmm.
honestly. But there was like I'll touch on it briefly. There was a doctor guy who came forward and talked about his uncle or grandfather, I can't remember who it was, who was
Hmm.
deceased at the time that this guy came forward,
Yeah.
who was also a doctor, who took his own life like a couple days after Betty was murdered. And
Oh
so
boy.
this guy's thinking was that he felt so bad about killing Betty that he took his own life.
Hmm.
Because everything leading up to it, like, he didn't seem like the kind of type of person who would take his own life. Like, he didn't seem depressed or anything, but, like, literally, you never know.
Yeah.
The most information I found on, like, these people that their, like, relatives basically suspect them of having done this.
Hmm.
There's one kind of longer article on the doctor guy, but I think there was 2 other people. There's the woman who talked about her grandfather, and then there's one other person who hadn't published a book yet on it yet, but it's called I Know Who Killed Betty Shanks.
Oh, I've heard of that book, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that one came out, but there's another one that this guy's holding on to and not releasing.
Mm.
But those are like the 3 main people that I could find that people act, like suspect could have actually done it.
Hmm.
And they are gone over more in depth in the books that I wasn't able to get.
Hmm.
A lot of the information that's available freely to the public is just kind of theories and like nothing on
Hmm.
specific people.
Yeah. Reddit threads and such.
I didn't
I'm
even
sure.
touch Reddit this time. I was
Oh,
like, I'm
okay.
not gonna dig through a 50-page forum on sitcomsonline.com because,
Yeah. I have yet
as
to ever
intriguing as
use
that was,
Reddit.
I don't have the brain space for that right now.
Yeah.
I would like to go and deep dive into that now that I've done this episode, and like, I'm
Hmm.
not done yet, but now,
Yeah.
after this episode, and like kind of see what people have to think on it because it is interesting. So, one of the theories is that it wasn't theft necessarily, but like, they didn't originally think that theft was the motive, but
Hmm.
over the course of the investigation, they thought maybe it could have. Because she Betty had previously won money from a lotto ticket. Like
Oh,
enough
wow.
money, maybe multiple lotto tickets, but she had won enough money overall to cover her family's debts and cover a surgery for scoliosis.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So she had won a pretty sizable amount of cash
Yeah.
from lotto tickets in the past. So this night, or like this week or something, her friends had asked her to cash in their own lotto tickets in hopes of like having the same luck because
Hmm.
she's obviously got some sort of magic touch.
Yeah.
And police or well, people, I don't know if they're police investigators or like couch investigators, I don't know.
Hmm.
They think that whoever attacked her might have thought she was carrying the cash from the like
Oh.
cashed out tickets on the way home that
Hmm.
night and was planning to steal the winnings.
Okay.
But Buddy didn't always carry her wallet with her, and she wasn't carrying it with her that night.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever attacked her might have thought she was carrying it and attacked her for it, but she didn't have it on her at the time anyways. So sucks
Yeah.
for the person who didn't get the wallet, I guess. But
Yeah. Also,
sucks for
though,
Betty more.
it seems like that's a lot of work to violently commit a crime, and then after that, figure out that she doesn't have her wallet.
Exactly.
Like,
So if they had thought that she did have her wallet on her and then discovered that she didn't, maybe they
mhm.
weren't originally planning on killing her. Maybe they weren't originally planning on beating her maybe they just wanted to like snatch her wallet and go,
Yeah.
but were so enraged that
Oh,
they
yeah.
beat her.
Yeah. That male entitlement.
Right. So
Yeah.
they do suspect a man for sure.
Hmm.
They do suspect that it was a man who was hiding in the shadows because it was like dark outside and like the streetlights. There's a specific part of the block that there's like a bunch of trees and it's like super dark,
Hmm.
like right next to this garden.
Got
So they
it.
suspect that someone hid in the bushes or under the trees and then like ran out and grabbed whoever.
Ooh, I hate that. Nope. Nope.
Yeah. So there was a lot of ticket theory, and then there was also the theory that she was having an affair.
What?
Which I find incredibly, like, not credible because, like, oh
Yeah.
my god, I don't think I have to explain why, but it definitely wasn't a husband or a boyfriend
Hmm.
because she was focused on her career and night training classes. um, but yeah, she definitely had, like, a good group of friends that she hung out with fairly
Hmm.
regularly, but she didn't seem interested in dating or anything.
Yeah.
Except for that rumor that she might have been having an affair, but I honestly think that people were just trying to stir the pot. I don't think that had
Yeah.
anything to do with anything.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Also, that's kind of victim blaming too.
Hmm?
I I feel like that can easily get into a victim blaming
Oh,
territory.
yes.
Like the people who are like, oh, she was having an affair, so then somehow she deserved it or something, or
Yeah,
like it was her
exactly.
mistake. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. When if she was literally doesn't matter, she was still murdered.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of another sort of case of like the person who attacked her kind of came and didn't originally intend to injure her, but ended
Hmm.
up doing so, was that a officer accidentally ran her over with a motorcycle, didn't call for help, and then later came back to strangle her, aka like finish her.
Oh my
I don't
god.
know how. I don't know. But there were no tire marks on
Did
the
they do an
ground or the
autopsy?
fence. I don't
Like,
exactly like it doesn't match in my
yeah.
head. Like nothing adds up for this story. It was just an idea people put forward.
Wild.
I don't have a
Hmm.
I don't believe this one personally, but there are no
Yeah.
tire marks on the ground or the fence or on Betty's body.
Hmm.
Evidence just doesn't line up for me on this one.
Yeah.
The one that
Yeah.
kind of does, but also like I don't know. This is probably the one of two theories that I actually believe. The first
Okay.
one's a lotto ticket, and then the second one is the Betty look-alike.
Mm.
So there was a woman named Ina. They said it in the episode, and I can't remember, but I'm gonna call her Ina.
Okay.
Just kidding, I'm gonna call her Ina. I feel like that sounds more right. I don't know. Ina, a woman named Ina,
Hmm.
also took the tram around the same time that Betty did. And they looked very, very similar. I didn't see any pictures of her, but like the they look similar enough that the tram operator, who probably saw them all the time, also got them
Hmm.
got them confused when he was questioned. So I assume they just like showed him a picture and was like, "Hey, have you seen this woman? Do you remember her? Do you know her? Do you know what happened to
Yeah.
her?" And the conductor got them confused. So
Hmm.
the theory is that the assailant actually meant to attack Ina.
Okay. Wild.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because Ina worked in a doctor's office as a receptionist, and investigators think that the assailant wanted to get her keys to the office,
Okay.
which would possibly have the key to like the medication cabinet office storage.
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
wanted to steal medications, but to do
Okay.
that they had to steal the keys. So they think that she was the actual target of the attack, and that
Hmm.
that she and Betty looked so similar, and they came home around the same time, anyways. Like, or they both came to that area around the same time. Like that, the assailant thought
Hmm.
it was her,
Hmm.
and not Betty. But
Got it.
Ina had actually taken the tram earlier that day than her
Okay.
usual time, which is the one that she usually takes with Betty.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, kind of a it didn't work out for Betty if this was the case. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But also she was in the right place at the wrong... Like, this is how she goes home.
Yeah.
She's in the right place.
It's like Ina was in the right place at the right time because she got out of it.
Yeah. So, although, I don't know.
If, like... Okay, if the assailant saw two of them, what would he have done?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's terrifying.
Yeah, so there's a couple of smaller theories out there about this. There's also
about this.
There's also, as I said earlier, more information on the like specific suspects that they originally investigated. Also, the people that other people put forward as the one who did it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to read the books, which I think has like a majority of the information on those things and have like super detailed information.
Got it.
But it's like one of the biggest cases, unsolved murder cases in Queensland to date. Dang. So, literally everybody knows about it. Like everyone is like obsessed with it. So.
I know that someone already suggested this, but sometimes I'm like, what if my grandpa was a serial killer? Because he was a pilot, so he could go anywhere. Also, was he
D.B. Cooper?
What?
Was he D.B. Cooper?
I don't think so. Yeah, but he was also a disgusting, terrible man. So sometimes in my, like, dark web moments, I'm like, was my grandpa the Zodiac killer? And then I'm like, probably not. But we don't know.
They live in San Francisco, don't they?
Yeah, they live in the Bay Area.
Yeah, so like that's the perfect area. Hot dog. Okay.
Yeah, also he was a pilot, so he could have... Didn't Zodiac like travel down California? Or...
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Ask me at any other time and I'd probably be able to tell you, but right now I am not. I'm looking up the Trams system because... Oh, okay. So apparently, also just a little fun fact, trams don't exist in current day Brisbane.
Okay. Got it.
So, like, they have trains now? I think.
Like, light rail type?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But the tram system as it existed in 1952 no longer exists. Because I was listening to the Queensland episode, the Little Mysteries Queensland episode, and they were like, wait, trams in Brisbane? Like, what the fuck? And apparently, the tram system was discontinued in this area. And I wrote down 1952, but that's not correct, so I googled it. But I think it's the 1960s, so about like 10, 15 years later. So there's no longer trams in Brisbane, but there is a light rail system. Just a little fun fact.
That's kind of wild, though. That, like, all of... I mean, not evidence, but, like, that's all gone. Even though, like, the case is still... I don't know. Something about that. It's like the world has moved on now that the trams are no longer functioning. And it's still unsolved, which is disturbing. But, like...
Yeah.
The guy's probably already dead at this point, right?
Right. Because she was 22 at the time. Whoever attacked her was probably around the same age or in their mid-30s. Which means that if they were alive today, they would be, if it was the 50s, at least 70-something. Well, okay. Let me back up. At least 70 years have passed since... Or almost 70 years have passed since the event.
Okay.
Which means that if they're in their 20s or 30s at the time, they'd have to be 100.
Yeah.
90 to 100 years old. So that's possible. Not likely
pretty old.
that they're still alive.
Yeah. Wild.
Okay, so the last trolley buses ran for on March 13th, 1969, and the final trams ran on April 13th, 1969. So trams overall, buses and, or sorry, trolley buses and trams closed down in 1969.
Okay. What if, like, you were one of the people on the last ever rides of the tram? It'd be wild.
I'd rather that than be the first, honestly.
Yeah,
Because, like,
probably.
I feel like if you're the first, you don't know if you're gonna die. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. It's more likely that you would die on the first tram ride than the last tram ride, unless it was because you died that they discontinued the trams.
Or if they were discontinuing them because some sort of major safety issue, then that would be a problem.
Sure, that is more dangerous than any safety issue from the start. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so that's my story.
Not to one up you there.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
We're all good.
It's a good story.
Thank you.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
But
I keep pulling out like really grisly murders or unsolved, and I feel like I gotta I gotta find a balance somewhere in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. So far, I have tolerated them. And I assume if our audience is still listening. Well, I don't know how they I say audience. We don't even have it.
I was gonna say, they heard me stumble around at the beginning. I don't know if I would listen through that, but we'll see. I might cut it up and make it more legible. Is that legible? Is that the right word for audio?
No. More concise, I guess you could say.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Do you need a break or?
I'm good. Susan is still gnawing away at her bone. She's really fucking going at it. After she got groomed, like, she just has so much more energy because she was so hot in her heavy winter coat. Sweet baby. Oh, okay. One thing I have to tell you about is Hollis dropped Susan off at the groomers, but then I had to go take the bus to go get her. And I swear to God, people in Fremont, Seattle do not know that we're in a pandemic.
Oh my God.
Like, okay, people were just like eating as they were walking on crowded sidewalks, like not wearing masks. Also, the most disgusting thing happened. There was a guy at the bus stop, like I was like 10 feet away from him already, but he pulled down his mask to sneeze.
Nope.
Without covering his mouth. And I saw shit fly out of his mouth. Like, you pulled down your mask to sneeze? What the fuck?
What is a mask for? I mean, like, maybe you don't want to sit in your, like, sneeze goo, but it's like a diaper. Just fucking carry a change of mask, I guess, if you don't. I don't know what the solution for that is, but god damn.
You don't take your diaper off to shit.
Like, on the street. Like, come on.
Oh, it was so horrifying. But then I gave him the dirtiest, most Karen look that I could muster, and he was like, oh. And I, like, went, like, farther away from him. Oh my god. Disgusting. Though, I did not understand the thought process. If there was a thought process.
Probably was not.
Yeah, like, okay, pull your mask off so that it doesn't get wet, but then sneeze into your arm, like, oh my god.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, if that's one thing I'm grateful for in this whole disaster, is that my dad has started to cover his mouth when he coughs or clears his throat. Oh, it's great. He didn't used to. We're like, can you please cough into your elbow or something, or at least clear your throat with your mouth closed?
Oh, that's terrible.
And now he does. So that's nice.
Well, good. I'm
so before he just like mouth wide open, just and we're like, can you not?
I'm glad
it's
that
like
this
children who don't know how to cough
with
their mouth closed. I don't. It's probably like one of my. Sorry, now I'm gonna rant about children.
No, it's
one of my least favorite things about children is that they don't know about hygiene, and like they always seem like moist or like
drooling,
like a muggy hot afternoon or something, where they just like they're just covered in a film of germs or something. I really don't
So
know how to explain it,
true.
but like
No,
there's just something
I
about
know
children who like
exactly.
cough like with their tongues out and like they're just
And they don't know how
oh
to wash their hands after they
yeah.
poop. It's like, oh my
And then they like go
god.
touch everything. And I'm like, please stop touching everything and
Yeah.
please stop touching me.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
When COVID was first coming out and like people were getting concerned but things hadn't shut down, I was just like, okay, so this kid asked me to come play Legos with them. And just as I was about to like stick my hand in the bin of Legos, I was like, have these ever been cleaned?
Nope.
Like, how long have we had these? How many dirty ass children have, like, sneezed into their hands and wiped it off on Legos? And I'm just like, oh my god. And then I was like, petition to bleach the Legos, but we never had time just because there were so many fucking Legos. And so I felt so bad,
Oh
but I was
god.
like, I'm sorry, I can't play Legos with you.
Yeah.
I will watch and help verbally support you in your beautiful creation, but I just can't.
I'll play Legos from you from behind this glass.
What?
I'll play Legos with you from behind the glass wall.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that you know how to disinfect your Legos, though.
Me?
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about to the children.
Oh, okay, okay. I will play the Legos over Zoom. Yeah.
I'll play Legos over here, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would totally do that. They look really fun, but just
Yeah,
not
the other day I had a
when.
thought. I was like, you know, if I ever have expendable income, I'm gonna buy all the fucking Legos I wanted as a kid.
Oh my
I
god.
don't care that I'm in
Yeah.
my 20s and I'm an adult. Like, I'm probably gonna be in my 30s by the time I have disposable income. But,
When I
like,
get disposable income, I want to raise bees and build doll houses.
raising bees is interesting. There's, like, a
Yeah.
nuance to them. Like, they can't survive for very long if you have them, like, in your backyard or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but at least you can make your own honey,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess.
no. And like probably if you're on like a farm where there are like plants for them to get
Yeah, it's
pollen
just,
off
like,
of, it's
it's the
probably
difference between
better.
captivity and letting them roam free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're not increasing the bee population by raising your own bees.
Oh, really?
You're increasing the bee population in that there's more bees, but they don't last very long.
Mm.
I can send you a video on it.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be great.
It's actually going to be a series of videos because it's my dog Snapchat account that I follow, and kept bees a couple years ago,
Oh my gosh.
and so
Is
like they did
there
like bee updates.
is there a way to raise bees and then release them into the wild? Or like help them build a hive in a forest or something?
I don't know.
Because
That
I'd
yeah
be into like repopulation of bees too. Like I don't really care about the honey, although honey is great.
yeah. I wonder if there's a way to like build a natural hive somewhere for like
Yeah,
that you can like integrate a bee colony, or that just disrupt everything. I don't know. Like if
I
you
don't,
live
yeah.
near a park, like a state park or something, can you like potentially build a hive
Hmm.
in your backyard that's actually like in like a cave or something? I don't know,
Hmm.
where do bees live? And like keep the
Yeah,
queen in there, and then that's where they
yeah.
live and they like repopulate.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean,
Be
I've
interesting.
like heard of people who have like hives that are half indoors and half outdoors,
Hmm.
kind of. I don't know if that's like the same as like keeping them in a bee box,
Right,
but
like that's what I'm
like,
thinking. Like generally, you keep them in a bee box, and it's like a wooden crate
hmm,
thing that you can like
yeah,
monitor. But
they're
if you
so
built it
cute.
naturally, like you have like maybe artificial structures in a
Hmm.
natural feature, would that
Yeah,
work? And like keeping
yeah.
them alive longer, so to say, and then like
Hmm.
repopulating that way?
Yeah, it's like planting trees in a
Right, like
forest.
introducing
Hmm.
new. Uh, anyways,
Okay,
Is it time for some spooky
It's
things?
it's time
We
for
just went
some
on a
spooky
whole thing about
things.
bees. I don't know if I'm going to keep that
Yeah,
in, but
we love
if we
bees.
did, you're welcome.
Um, Unfortunately, my story is not cute like bumblebees. Although we love all bees, not just bumblebees, not just honeybees. We love the scary looking bees too,
We
except
love
not
all bees.
wasps.
We don't like any murder wasp. Hornets.
Hornets. Eh,
Wasps.
gross.
Hornets.
Do you want to hear the title of my story this
Oh
week?
no, here we are.
It's called the Extraterrestrial Hat Collection Agency.
Are they in any way related to the UFO hotline?
No,
Do they get
no,
donations from the same place?
no,
Or funding?
no. I like it more. It meant it as like aliens have like a closet full of hats, kind of, and they collect them. So like the
Yes.
agency is extraterrestrial.
Right, but the place that they buy their hats from.
No, they don't buy hats, they steal hats.
Oh.
Okay, this is getting very much off topic and not at all connected.
Okay, I don't
Um,
know. I don't know what's going on. Alright. I know that they steal dogs. I don't know about hats.
oh
Please enlighten me.
no. Today we're going to be talking about the Hat Man.
I've heard of this one. I don't remember the details right now. So
Yep.
I'm really excited to hear the details.
What do you know about it so far?
Only from what I've seen in, what is it called? The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh,
He's in there.
wait, in the book or the TV show?
The show.
Oh, okay.
He's got no body, but he's got like a little floating hat.
A
Is that
little
the same hat man?
Um, this one is different than
Okay,
that.
never mind then.
But it sounds like the Haunting of Hill House could be, or that Hat Man could be based off of this Hat Man.
Okay. I mean,
Um,
definitely, like, I don't think it's the exact Hat Man story. Like,
mhm,
there's elements in the show. I haven't read the book, but I'm assuming there's also some of the same ones are also in the book.
mhm,
That are definitely elements of real life stories that have
yeah.
been altered in some way.
Mhm.
But oh, sorry, it took me this long. I was this years old when I realized that you messaged me about sleep paralysis,
Oh,
and now we're talking about the Hat Man, and there's sleep paralysis because of the Hat Man in the show. Spoiler, but it's like the first
yeah.
episode. I'm not gonna apologize for that.
No, I'm like in most of the way through the book right now, and so far I've seen like trailers for the show, and the show doesn't look anything like what I've read in the book so far.
That makes sense. It's real
So,
spooky. I
yeah,
started watching it
yeah.
right before I moved, and then I moved, and I never finished it. I think I have like an episode and a half left, and I'm really just upset because I don't want to rewatch it, but also I want to finish it.
We could
So I'm
rewatch
like
it
in a weird spot.
together. I want to watch it after I finish the book. For
Yeah, you
sure.
let me know.
Okay. Anyways, the Hat Man. There's also a personal element to this story because I have experiences related
Right.
to what we're about to go into. Woo! So I
Cute.
like, yeah. I um I had this idea to do the story because there was like a post all of a sudden on Facebook about like, hey, who has seen the Hat Man? And it like wasn't until then that I put two and two together and I'm like, oh, I've seen the Hat Man. Like, what the
Wait,
fuck?
what?
I'll
Do
I
tell.
I will get to my story later,
Okay.
but I will tell you eventually.
Okay.
So, just a brief summary. The Hat Man is commonly described as a 6 to 8 foot, featureless, shadowy figure wearing a wide-brimmed hat, standing over your bed, watching you from a doorway, or just generally lurking around, watching and imposing dread and terror.
Cool.
Sorry, I was laughing at my dramatics. The Hat Man is often associated with sleep paralysis, as you mentioned before in the Haunting of Hill House. Like people will wake up, be unable to move or talk, and then they'll see a shadowy man in a hat standing over their beds.
My least favorite thing.
Yeah. And often he's just watching you, but then other times he attacks sometimes. But more often than not, stories have been like he was just standing over my bed watching me, kind of. Which is horrifying in
I
itself.
can't stand people watching me. I
No,
say as I have a YouTube channel. Like,
you don't like
ugh.
creepy man figures in hats
I
at your
just
bed.
small anecdote. I have like problems with being productive in life.
Oh yeah, me too.
And so growing up, my dad would stand over me and watch me work to make sure I was getting work done. And so like I for so long after I moved up here from college, like my roommate said he never noticed it, but like
Uh-huh.
I it was it was so bad back then. Like I could never sit in like at restaurants and stuff. I would have to sit
Uh-huh.
against the wall. Otherwise, I was just like always looking over my shoulder, and like it slowly
Oh.
faded. Like
Mm-hmm.
probably sometime in sophomore or junior year, but like god damn, I hate
Mm-hmm.
when people like watch me work over my shoulder.
Yeah,
I can't stand
it's
it.
it's uncomfortable. Yeah. I had a similar thing though. Okay, so my parents when we were growing up, they had like no sense of privacy. So
Mm.
like they would just open my bedroom door
We
and
couldn't close our doors.
oh my god.
Closing your
Yeah.
bedroom door was totally foreign until like I started living with somebody else. Sophomore year, my roommate had her door closed all
Wild.
the time, and I was like, "Wow, she's like really cold and impersonal." But then I was like, "No, it's just people have their door closed. Like that's a normal
Yeah.
thing. Having your door open all the time, that is not normal."
No, yeah, yeah.
Like the
It's
punish I don't
bad.
know if you've ever seen Freaky Friday, but the punishment is that they like take her door
They
off.
take her
And I
that's
was like,
fucked up.
that's really fucked up, but also like it didn't seem like a big deal to me until I got older because I was like, we can't have our doors closed. Like that was a rule. Like we couldn't have the doors closed.
Yeah. I mean, it like same thing if for me, like I was always like looking over to make sure that no one was barging in on me, etc. Because like and my parents would like come in to ask why my door was closed.
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's closed because I don't want you in here right now.
Exactly.
Anyways,
I don't know. Now I
um
just have my door closed because I don't want to talk to anybody.
yeah, no.
No,
And
also I'm usually
that's
like in the middle of recording something and I just out of
yeah.
courtesy.
Also, that's what doors are for. If doors didn't have a
Exactly.
purpose, we wouldn't have doors. So.
I don't know. It really like the day I realized that she wasn't trying to be rude, I like
Uh-huh.
stopped cleaning my room. When my roommate sophomore year, like when I realized she wasn't trying to be rude, I stopped cleaning my room and I was like, well, if I don't have to have the door open, it doesn't have to look nice, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. That it reminds me that in our new apartment, the washer dryer is actually in my bedroom closet. So Hollis is gonna have
Oh
to come
no.
in to do laundry and stuff. But I'm like, that's fine. We can
I mean, as
schedule
long
it.
as you're
And I
okay with
love
it.
Hollis. Yeah,
I would
yeah.
never be okay with it, but
It's
that's just
fine.
me.
It's just a really weird old apartment, and it has like, oh, it still has the OG call box
Ooh, that's fun.
that is no longer in use, but it's still there.
Do you know what year it was
Anyways,
built?
I don't.
Did they tell you?
No. Oh, yes. So we know what sleep paralysis is. At
Yes,
least
we
I
do.
do. We've had it. And the Hat Man is a popular character in sleep paralysis hallucinations. It would be just easy to like write him off as just that, like something that people dream about for some reason. But a lot of people have seen the Hat Man when they're not asleep. It's like in the middle of the day, anytime, anywhere. He like does follow the pattern of like usually coming when people are like asleep or about to fall asleep. But like you can still see him anywhere.
Yuck.
Yeah, it's bad. It's gross. Some other main commonalities in Hatman experiences, of course, are like the hat, although the exact type of the hat varies. So, like, some people see like a fedora, some see like a detective's hat, or even a top hat.
Okay.
So, so
The one
that
in the
varies.
Haunting of Hill House show is a bowler hat.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I don't
Yeah,
know.
where the heck does he go to get his hats? What the heck?
Exactly. That's why, well, there is a theory that he's like an extraterrestrial being, but like, what are aliens doing? Like, just like picking out hats to put on him before he goes down? Like, I don't know. In addition to the hat, witnesses have feelings of extreme terror and dread during the whole experience. Maybe, well, no, it's entirely because he's intimidating, and through at least part or for the whole encounter, at least some time is spent of the Hat Man just like staring at you and just like watching.
Yuck.
Um, yeah, so he's in a position to intelligently like observe someone. Um, Witnesses often have experiences during times of unrest, depression, anxiety, or family dysfunction, which leads into a theory later. Or just
Um,
like counting all of those and like, yep, yep, yep,
yep.
because that's what I'm doing.
I have a question.
Uh huh.
He's very much defined by his hat.
Yes.
And in the show, I'm just gonna keep referring to the show.
Uh
I
huh.
don't know if that's a good thing to do, but
No, yeah,
um
I understand.
he doesn't he's just a floating hat in the show. It's just a floating hat. I don't there's no man attached to it per se. You can hear his
Yeah.
footsteps. Or no person, sorry. No being attached to the hat. Maybe the hat is the being.
Oh,
But
okay.
like you can only hear footsteps.
Okay.
So I'm wondering what does he look like? Have people seen his face? Is there a body attached to it?
Oh, a few people have seen his face.
Like, how do you not see his face? Is it just like there's? It's
It's
usually dark, so the shadow
it's just
covers it,
like
like the rim.
it's like featureless usually.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Um, but then I was watching a documentary on Amazon Prime about it. Um, they like made like a independent documentary compiling people's experiences of the Hat Man. It's actually a really good documentary, I gotta say. And
I'll have
at
to
the
look into
end
it.
of that documentary, they were talking about people who have seen his face. But I was also kind of like playing Sims and like multitasking because it was 9 a.m. and I was like just waking up and freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I'll
usually
send
his
you my artist
face.
rendition of a Mothman, and you can send me yours of Hatman.
Oh hell yes. Oh yeah, that'll be so good. Okay, okay. We're doing that. We're doing that. Um, as I said
Also, just an
before.
update from the
Oh,
last episode. I did order a drawing tablet, and it's getting here tomorrow.
oh hell yes.
Like I did actually order one, and
Congratulations.
it's getting
Mazel
here.
tov.
I can't draw. I don't know what I was thinking. Like I don't even. I
Congratulations
spent so much money
on
on
your
it for
new
no
baby.
reason.
As I said before, sleep paralysis is often a big factor in when the Hat Man shows up. People usually have encounters or first encounters as children, as like young children. That's also a common factor.
Okay, so then if I haven't had one, does it mean I never will?
I mean, you can have an encounter at any point in your life, but usually if people are having recurring encounters, usually it starts in childhood,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Um, Also, interesting is that the Hat Man uses the door as opposed to just disappearing like other shadow people.
Somehow that makes it worse.
Yeah. And he can either like walk through a door or like actually like open it with footsteps and stuff.
Open? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Or at least the person is like imagining that or something. But yeah, which is different from just normal spirit people who like dissipate and stuff. There is one story that I read of just him like disappearing, but a lot of others are like use the door.
Yes. I don't like
Also, really creepy theory is that I keep wanting to say the Mothman, but it's the Hat Man. The Hat Man can direct other shadow people to do things, especially in sleep paralysis. Like, there was this one theory that he was like directing the old hag to go and sit on your chest, kind of, and stuff like that. And then in the documentary, Rosemary, I forget what her name is, but she died last year, but she was a paranormal
It was
researcher.
Rosemary's Baby named Rosemary.
Yeah, not Rosemary's Baby. She, wait, fuck, I just forgot what we were talking about. What was the last thing that I said?
Can direct people, shadow entities to do things. Someone just died. Their name is Rosemary. It wasn't Rosemary's Baby.
I totally forgot. Oh my god. Okay, well, if it comes up again, I will say it.
Okay.
Okay. The Hat Man falls into like the larger category of like shadow people and shadow spirits. The experiences of the Hat Man tend to have like specific deviations from shadow people in general. So like it's like part of that category, but he is his own ball game kind of as well. Like there's the fact that there's the hat, like that reoccurring, like very distinct element. Oh, and often he wears a trench coat too.
Oh, this guy just keeps getting grosser and grosser, and just I'm ready for like I'm just waiting for him to like open my door, come
or, like,
in,
be like standing behind me on the camera.
No. Coming into my home, opening my bedroom door, and then just flashing me.
Oh my god! Oh no! Okay.
Which is like one of my worst nightmares, besides children touching me.
I don't think that you have to worry about him flashing you because he doesn't even want to show his face, really. So,
but like a lot, no, but that's worse because he doesn't want to be identified. It's very like people aren't often identified from neck down.
That's true. That's true.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean,
terrifying.
I'm just trying to assure you that it's
not working.
He is probably more likely to stand over you while you're trying to go to sleep versus flash you.
People can hide things in trench coats. He could be rats in a trench coat, for all we know.
I mean, also, he's not always seen with a trench coat. Some people see him with a trench coat.
Okay, that makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
And, like, it's, like, kind of that whole theory of, like, if he's an alien, then maybe he's trying to blend in, but he just has the wrong fashion of, like, a trench coat and a wide-brimmed hat. Like, that's, like...
But what is he trying to model it off of?
In the 40s. What?
Right. What is he trying to model it off of? What era? What fashion?
Well, I know that, like, wide-brim hats were a thing in the 40s.
But trench coats? As far as I know, only detectives wear those.
Yeah. Well, like, some people have seen him with, like, a detective's hat, though. So...
He's an alien detective!
I don't know. Like, people think that about the Black Eyed Kids, too.
That's true.
Like, they're in a really weird dress because they think that's what is going to make them blend in. But they're, like, a little bit off, so they don't really get it. Some people have theories about how maybe he's connected to BEK, too. We'll get into that, though. I get the sense from the stories that I've read that the more significant difference between the Hat Man and, like, other shadow people just, like, in your room at night is that the Hat Man seems very intelligent and very calculating. Like, that the Hat Man observes you as if not only trying to terrify you, but also trying to know you, kind of. Like,
I don't like that.
it wants more information.
Intelligence, not for me.
Yeah. I can really tell. It really shows. I'm sorry. I'm trying to,
17 strokes I've had for the past 2 episodes. Yes, it does.
I'm like trying to create like roasting banter, but anytime I roast someone, I feel so bad about it.
Oh.
So okay. So now I want to get into some stories
Okay.
that I read on this really cool website called the Hat Man Project, which is devoted to collecting evidence about the Hat Man.
Okay.
So basically, it's like the only. I don't think it's even an agency. I think it's just like a website where you can share your stories. But there were a lot of really good ones from there, so I'm going to tell you 3 of them.
Okay.
This one that I'm about to read you is titled, It Was the Most Terrifying Experience I've Ever Had.
I believe it.
Submitted on December 28th, 2015. So all of the people in the post are anonymous, and they're submitted by the person who runs the page, so I don't have names for any of these people.
Okay.
But this writer says that they have always been fascinated by the paranormal, but that they never really believed in ghosts. The writer attests to seeing things as a kid in their sister's bedroom at night when they were like young. Namely, they saw a werewolf with neon green glowing eyes.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, so that might be kind of a premonition of what's to come.
There's just something about glowing eyes that I've been like trained to be afraid of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, also, when some people see the Hat Man, he has glowing red eyes.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Goodbye. Cody's out. Cody is not here anymore. Been abducted by the Hat Man. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh my god. So the writer in this story, they say that their 1970s southern house had a negative presence until their mom died, after which they describe it as an angelic presence. So, like, their mom improved the energy of the house after she died, I guess.
Or she was the negative energy.
I mean, oh yeah.
Depending on how you want to think about it. That's,
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Well, she's definitely the angelic entity.
Yeah. At least when she's dead.
She's a protector.
Okay. Yeah.
A dead protector. Oh, yikes.
Unfortunately, the mom could not protect her child into adulthood because just a few years ago, the writer had an encounter with the Hat Man.
What, her fucking insurance expired? What the fuck?
I don't know. But here's a quote from this person's post. I felt something was watching me. My eyes flew open, and standing near the foot of my bed, kind of outside, was a man watching me. He had beady, piercing black eyes. He was old but had no wrinkles, white hair, and a white short beard. He wore what appeared to be a black trench coat and a rounded long brim Amish-looking hat or sharp-brimmed vintage fedora. His look was dull, stoic, slightly sad, intrigued somehow by me, and menacing because of it. I got the feeling he had been there before. So, this is an example where they did see the face.
Mm-hmm. And they described him as not old, old but with no wrinkles. With white hair.
And a white short beard.
So,
and he had the hat.
Is it just an albino Hat Man?
Oh, I guess.
I mean,
They don't talk
they
about
don't talk about
skin
red glowing
color.
eyes, but
Yeah.
I feel like that would be the next step.
I
I'm just thinking about
picked this
albino
story.
mice at this point. Like, they have red glowing eyes. I know albino humans don't have red glowing eyes. I don't know why I'm so stuck on that.
Cody's trying.
I really am.
You're trying. But I picked that story because it's a little bit different from the others. But the next one is a little bit more classic Hatman. And this is from the same project. This one was titled "Something Made Me Feel He Wasn't Human." Submitted on...
Wonder where that could be.
And it was posted on December 23rd, 2015. Oh my god, think about like writing this 2 days before Christmas.
No.
It's kind of, I don't know. Something, unless you're Jewish.
Santa's the Hat Man.
Or anything like me. Except I celebrate Christmas because my family does. Anyways.
Santa's the Hat Man.
Yeah. Santa just switches out.
He's got white hair.
His outfit.
And a white beard.
You know, that's so true. And beady black eyes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Slightly sad, but also menacing.
Yeah.
This writer tells the Hatman Project that they were 3 to 4 years old. When they were 3 to 4 years old, they lived in an old cozy house that may or may not have come with a Hatman. They talk about waking up in the middle of the night and seeing a man in a hat and trench coat poking around the room as if looking for something. Sorry, Susan's chugging.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna wait until Susan's done.
We're good now. Susan just had to take a big, long drink. So, they talk about waking up in the middle of the night and seeing a man in a hat and trench coat poking around the room as if looking for something. The writer says that they knew something was happening that shouldn't be happening. They write, quote, "He looked real to me, yet with a slight cartoon or flat feel that made me know he was not a human." The Hat Man would also look at them, knowing they were watching him, and kind of watching them watch him. Another quote, quote, "He moved fast, but he would stop and look over at me, kinda acknowledging that I was watching him. Then he would move directly towards me and hover over me, and just stare for a moment. I usually 10-step and would either turn my head or cover it with my sheet. I remember covering my face once and still seeing him moving through the sheet, the way it would look if an actual person was there."
No thanks. No thank
you. I hate that. You put your sheet over your head, but you still see them.
Also, just going through my stuff.
Yeah, fucking...
Violation of privacy, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can't keep you out front with the door, and then you go through my stuff?
Yep.
God, what are you, my father? Come on.
Hopefully not.
I really hope not.
That would mean that you're half hat person.
I mean...
Oh my god, it is you.
I'm wearing a hat, for those who can't see me.
The writer emphasizes that they were not experiencing sleep paralysis, that they were wide awake, so that kind of does away with the whole, like, the Hat Man is a sleep paralysis thing.
But he does cause sleep paralysis sometimes, though, right?
He does, yeah, but if he causes it, then that means that he's not a hallucination, you know?
What? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around, like, can hallucination cause sleep paralysis?
Yeah. I mean, sleep paralysis is, like, caused by, isn't it, like your consciousness and then the part of your body that paralyzes itself during sleep, they kind of slip past each other. So.
Right, so that's what, I mean, you just said that, like, if he causes sleep paralysis, that means he's not a hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get sleep paralysis from a hallucination, so he could be a hallucination.
So, like, a hallucination would cause your sleep to be all weird? Wait, I'm confused.
I'm also confused.
Okay.
Okay, originally you said, originally I asked, can hallucination cause sleep paralysis? And my
Uh-huh.
train of thinking was because you said that since he can cause sleep paralysis, then he's not a hallucination. But then I asked, can
Mm-hmm.
hallucinations cause sleep paralysis? And you just said, yes, they can, because it's a state of mind between sleep and being awake. And if you're seeing it, then your mind is affected by it. So therefore,
Oh, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So then, if the Hat Man was a hallucination, he could still cause sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think so. I think, and my thought was that, like, if he can, like, no, I think you're right. No, yeah, you're right. You're good.
If you're terrified enough, anything,
Yeah, then like that terror can
anything
build
can.
on itself and you can just kind of go deeper and deeper. Or like it can shift into a different form of psychosis, I guess. Well, I don't know. I don't know, man. Back to this person's story. Possible explanation for the Hat Man being in their house was that this writer says that when they were around 10 or 11, they found a Ouija board in their mom's closet, but the Ouija board had the planchette missing. So then they were like, what if the black man is searching around for the planchette? Because my mom said that there's something weird about this Ouija board. Don't you ever use it.
The Hat?
And now there's this guy snooping around and the Ouija board has a missing piece. What the hell's going on here? Um,
Suspicious.
yeah. The last story is from November 24th, 2015. And it's called No Sound from His Footsteps. Yeah. And like, okay, I'm just gonna read the story in its entirety because it's really short. And
Okay.
also it's just so good. Okay, so it starts. Unlike the few stories I read, I saw the Hat Man when I was much older. I was 53 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, my wife and I came home from dinner one Friday night in October. I was sitting on the couch watching TV and was starting to get sleepy. I told my wife I was going out for a walk to wake up. As I was returning to my house, I saw a man approaching me in the distance. He was wearing all black and a style of clothes that reminded me of Sherlock Holmes. I thought it peculiar and stopped at the bottom of my driveway and watched him as he walked closer. It was starting to get dark and the street lights were on, but there was still some light in the sky. He stepped off the sidewalk and into the street under a light about 30 yards from me. He turned and faced me and just stood there. I realized he wasn't human and thought about running inside. Instead, I decided to get a closer look. I said a quick I said a quick prayer asking God to have my back. I just think that's such a cute way. I took about 3 steps towards the Hat Man, and he ran. He went from 0 to about 25 miles an hour instantly. When he ran, his foot speed didn't seem to match his actual speed, and there was no sound from his footsteps.
So he's like loping away.
Or like he's like floating and doing like a cartoon run, but going so much faster than he should be if he's actually running. But his
That's
feet are
just.
still.
Ugh.
Yeah, so when you turn 53 years old, just remember it can still happen.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Pregnancy.
What?
I don't know. It.
Oh my god, remember that one time that I texted you, oh my gosh, I'm so scared that I'm pregnant. Or something. And then you were like, I just read pregnancy, and it freaked me out.
Right, because I think you texted me like 4 a.m. and I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I was not pregnant. BG knows I was freaking
Okay.
out.
Good. No, it reminds
good.
me of pregnancy because it's like, oh, your body's producing eggs until you're like 50, whatever, but some people still produce eggs in their 50s. It just reminded me when you said, oh,
Yeah.
you can still see the Hat Man in your 50s. Anyways, that...
Oh my gosh,
I don't know what's wrong with my brain.
maybe one of the perks of, like, menopause is that you no longer have to see the Hat Man.
God bless. I cannot wait for that day.
Okay, so I wanted to call my mom today just to confirm that this actually happened and that I'm not dreaming about it. But I remember my mom at some point telling me, like, oh, when you were like 3 or 4 years old, you would have terrible dreams about a man in a hat coming to kill you.
What would you do as a parent? What can you do? You can't do anything.
Yeah, well, she just, like, said,
Brushed
like,
it off.
oh, you just had bad dreams as a kid, and, like, kind
Cool.
of didn't.
Supportive.
Yeah, they're, like, very much would never in a million years be like, oh, that's the Hat
Believe in the paranormal.
Yeah.
Especially from a child.
Yeah. And I, like, okay, so I, like, vaguely, very, very vaguely remember, like, it's, like, a man in a hat, and he was against a yellow background. Like
did you have
either,
yellow
like,
wallpaper in your room?
city lights, no, like, kind of, like, some kind of, like, glowing, like, light or something. And, yeah, and, like, that he was... Honestly, it felt like a past life kind of thing. Like, it's one of my first memories, and it was a very sophisticated thing for, like, a 3-year-old to be like, oh yeah, the Hat Man is coming to kill me.
Got it.
And, like, yeah, so that was weird. And it's weird, like, how familiar it feels. Like, every time I see, like, a picture of the Hat Man, I'm just like, oh, I've seen that before.
That's
Fucking wild. But, like, I have never heard of anyone else, like, saying, like, oh, it feels like a past life thing. But, like, if it's my first memory, then it kind of, or, like, it wasn't my first memories. So, yeah, I guess that's where that story ends. I saw the Hat Man as a kid in my dream.
10 out of 10 would not like to happen again.
Yeah. I have not seen him since. But
that's interesting.
It's, like, weird because I didn't even realize it until I saw that Facebook post. And I'm like, oh, wait, now I remember my mom telling this.
It's like realizing you were gay. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, so that's what that feeling is.
Exactly. Yeah, and, like, I don't know, I'm gonna call my mom tonight and, like, ask about it. But, like, she might very well be like, oh, I don't ever remember that happening. So,
I mean,
I don't know, but
moms are wont to do that.
Moms want to do that. Yeah. So what I want to end on is some theories about the Hat Man. Who is he? What does he want, and why is he here?
All great questions.
So, as to who he is, one theory is that he's the devil himself. The devil himself. Could also be a hallucination or entity of sleep paralysis, as we've discussed. Could be like an urban legend gone wild, kind of like Slender Man. Like, as soon as, like, someone wrote the story about Slender Man, like, everyone started seeing Slender Man, kind of.
Got it. Do we know when the first recorded sighting of Hat Man is?
I didn't come across that info. Okay. All I know is that, like, since it's closely tied with sleep paralysis, they talked about sleep paralysis as something that people have been experiencing since, as far as we know. And that the Hat Man is, like, psychiatrically probably just a phenomenon of that, if you believe that it's all sleep paralysis. My favorite theory was from Christian R. Anderson in her Medium article titled "The Hat Man. What's the shadow person got under his cap?" It's a great title.
It makes me uncomfortable for some reason.
I don't know. But Kristen Anderson says that maybe he's an astral projection of someone from the future coming to mess with other people. And And so they say on the topic, like, whoa, what kind of total psycho would have the intention strong enough to make this happen? I don't know, but I bet they're wearing a fedora.
Got it.
Oh, so funny. Another theory that this author also mentioned is that uh, that the man, sorry, the Hat Man could be like an angel of death who comes to collect your soul after you die, because some people have seen him like before they die. Could also be an extraterrestrial, an alien, um, interdimensional man in black. I don't know. Now there's also a theory that he could be, uh, is it pronounced like a jinn? A jinn, which is like a genie, but not like Aladdin genie, like
Not mainstream
not
appropriated genie.
mainstream Disney genie. Like what was it? They explained it like in Islam, before God created humans, God created a different race, but then God took away the embodiment of that race, so that race is now without a body, kind of.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting. Okay.
so that's a theory, but I've only heard astonishing legends talk about that and a white lady. So I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know, like not probably not experts on like Islamic religion and folklore to be able to
Right.
make that call about something that, I mean, all the stories that I've read have been from westernized areas of the world, so I don't know. I know that white people like to draw connections between their shit and like then culturally appropriate other shit, so
Yeah.
I don't know. As for what he wants, the author of the Medium article said, your bedroom is his demonic gas station, and baby, you're super unleaded.
That's a stretch, I
Like,
think. That's a weird metaphor.
I know, yeah. But, like, the idea that, like, he is taking, he's, like, feeding off of your fear and terror. And,
He is a monster in Monsters Inc.
yeah, he's a monster in Monsters, Inc. And also tends to, appear during, like, depressing or tumultuous periods in people's life. So, could be like some types of spirits who like feed off of negative energy, and stuff. Oh, I also wanted to say that the same person who brought up the jinn as a possible thing also said like, oh, in Judaism there's the Dybbuk, and that compares, and that's a version of like a non-human entity, and I'm like, no, like the very core of Dybbuks is that they came from a human soul. Like,
They're
no.
literally
So
not.
like that it made the whole jinn thing extra not credible for me.
Got it,
At least
yeah.
from that source. Um but yeah, also Astonishing Legend said that maybe the Hat Man wants information about humanity, kind of like the Black Eyed Kids we kind of already talked about. You could also want your soul. Could casually just want to mess with people. I don't know. But like a question that I have is, even if this can be like explained as like some kind of like minor psychotic break where people imagine this, or it's like all hallucinations. Like, why is a man in a hat in like our collective imagination? Like, what is it psychologically if it's all hallucinations that makes us think of the hat? You know,
Right, I'm wondering that too.
like people can hallucinate like things about voices and ghosts and stuff, but like it's so specific to have like a man in a hat. Like, what's going on with us? Like,
Right,
I
like
don't
who
know.
hurt you?
Yeah. So
Why
that
did
could,
they have a hat on at the time? Like,
yeah, that could either mean that like, I don't know, like the Hat Man is real, or there's something about the Hat Man that is in our collective,
right.
like,
We've all seen something
hallucination.
that manifests as the Hat Man in our psyche.
Yeah.
And it's
Um,
absolutely terrifying.
yeah. I don't know. But that's the end of the story. So
Wild.
wild.
Oh my god.
Very wild after I shared my story on my first memory with you. Sorry about that.
Yikes.
That's not going into the podcast.
Believe me, listeners, you don't want to know.
I thought it was funny. Where can you find us?
You can find us everywhere at Horror Corner Podcast. So that's like Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, iTunes. We're up there the first 19 episodes. The rest of them, from now on, you can find exclusively on YouTube. What a treat. You can send us reviews, comments, corrections to horrorcornerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave reviews on iTunes. We really appreciate it if you did. Also DMs. DMs is a place for that.
Yeah. Slide into our DMs.
Please, appropriate things only.
Appropriate sliding. If you want to come in on a slip and slide, that's cool.
That is
but if you're going to be
the
creepy,
only appropriate method.
Don't do it.
And I think that's all I have to say, so Elle, take us out.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. I think that's going to do it for us for today. This has been the Horror Corner. I'm Elle.
I'm Cody.
All right. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.